Hasta que no estás aquí dentro no sabes la grandeza de este equipo.
Quero o Benfica intimidar o adversário. Quero o manto sagrado entrar com vocês em qualquer estádio e assustá-los, pá! É isso que eu quero!
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Dog Benfica Podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumaças, and with me, Dave de Oliveira. What's going on, Dave?
What is going on, Alfredo? Good to be back. The season's up and going here. Guys got some games in, and we've got the Champions League here to recap. And we've got the opening of the Portuguese league for us, at least, to preview here.
Yeah, here we are. Another night on the podcast. 564 is what we're up to tonight. We have just the Nice games to talk about, and we'll also preview the Estrela da Amadora, which will be Benfica's debut in the Portuguese leagues, being that the first game that Benfica was supposed to play against Rio Ave was postponed as a result of this European fixture or double fixture that Benfica had to play. But we got Nice. Cristiano couldn't be here today. He apologizes to all the followers. I know that you guys all look forward to seeing Cristiano here and hearing Cristiano's opinion. He unfortunately couldn't be here, but he'll be here. He'll be here another time. Welcome, Manny Villadel, Manuel da Cunha, Diogo Reis, Ricardo Oliveira. Thank you guys for joining us. If you haven't hit the like button and the subscribe button, if you're not a subscriber, please do so. It helps us. Thank you very much for joining us. And as I mentioned, 564 is what we're up to. And a brief show. Cristiano's not here. Also, Cristiano likes to yap it up. But Dave is gonna take over those responsibilities today.
Like Chris always says, Dave, be ready to talk. I'm not talking tonight, and now there's no excuse. He's not here.
Yeah, he's not here. But we're here. And that's all that matters, and ready to give you another podcast. So let's waiting for more people to come in here. Chico Marcelino just came in. The usual guys. I hope everybody's doing well. Hope everybody's enjoying their summer. Certainly on the heels of 3 wins in a row on official games for Benfica. I think everybody's feeling good at this point. I know that people are feeling good as well as how Benfica has been playing as of late. I know it's early. There's still some things that need to be tightened up but certainly there's some early signs, as I named this episode, early signs that are definitely encouraging to see the new pieces really fit in together and seeing the 2 forwards set up and and guys are already in mid-season form like Auschwitz. So old reliable Auschwitz. But yeah, everything is well on this end. Dave and myself are doing well, enjoying our summer. Can't believe it's the middle of August already. Pretty soon we'll be back to school and everything. So here we are. Cesar da Silva, midlife crisis rants from San Diego. Welcome, Diogo Reis, obviously. And as Diogo Reis is pointing out, 0 goals so far for Benfica, 0 goals allowed, which is always a good thing, right? And I think that one of the things, and we'll talk about that in a little bit, and the defense has been nice and tight, nice and tight for us. So it's good. It's good. All right, let's get right into the Nice fixtures. All right, 4-0 on aggregate. First game up in the French coast against Nice. Nice, the Côte d'Azur. Dave, did I say that right? I know. You don't.
It's all Greek to me.
It's all Greek to me. but yeah, good showing by Benfica in France, and obviously Benfica is a better team than Nice. Obviously, I think it was proven over the two legs, but I think that even on paper, I mean, we're talking about a team that placed fourth last year. That's had some absences as well. But I think that going into this fixture, I think we all felt confident, despite Benfica only having 14 days of preseason as a result of being a participant in the Club World Cup that took place here in the United States. So lineup: Truben, which was the same lineup as today: Truben, Dedic, Silva, Otamendi, and Dahl, Barrenechea, Diaz, Auschner, Sheldrup, Ivanovic, and Pavlidis up front. And look, it was a game that was a little bit one-sided once Benfica kind of got their feet under them and took a little bit of the crowd out of the game. I thought that it was a game that Benfica had under control at most of the times. There was a couple scary periods in the first leg, as they were in the second leg as well. But I never really feared that Benfica was gonna come out with a negative result. The one goal would have been enough. Then Tino adds that unusual blast from him and the dying minutes of the second half, and I think that kind of sealed the deal and put the team in a much better position. Let's see. Midlife crisis. Despite the lack of trust in Laja Rui Costa, these new players add a lot of competitive spirit and skills to the team, looking promising so far. Yeah, I'll tend to agree with that. I think that, and I was just talking to Dave off air. I think that the team is progressing quite well. I think my biggest concern here, and look, I don't want to jinx the guy, right? Because I like Lage. I think that there's a ceiling to Lage, and my concern is that at some point with this good squad that he has and the pieces that we're missing and guys that can make a difference, guys. I mean, you notice it up front with two forwards. There's a much better line of pressure, and the pressure timings are much better with these two guys, two workhorses. Both Pavlidis and Ivanovic are guys that press high, and then you add Auschwitz into the mix, and even Sheldrup, who is a guy that isn't usually that intense in terms of pressure, in terms of hustle. He's joining in, and then I think that Rios is, despite still seeing some things in Rios that not that it concerned me, but certainly something that I would like a little better from him. I think that his passing is not as crisp as it should be, but he adds a physicality in the middle of the park that Benfica didn't have before. A lot of body to body, a lot of 50-50s that he wins based on his physicality. And then you got Barrenechea. Barrenechea has been really the guy that's been impressing me so far in terms of his vision of the game, the way he reads the game, the way is passing, both the short passing and the long passing. And he seems to be the one that's really taking the initiative of those long passes, not so much Rios. Rios is more like a guy that cleans it up. Barrenechea fills in the gaps, balances the team, helps on both the offensive transition and the defensive transition. And I think that that is something that Benfica needed. I thought that oftentimes when we had Tino, we defended well and he covered a lot of ground, but when he got the ball at his feet, didn't really know what to do. And but it's good to have guys like that are finally playing and really give Benfica a little bit more meat and also technique and talent and vision in the midfield. But as I mentioned, getting back to the game, a much better Benfica than Nice in the first half. I thought maybe they were a little bit sloppy beginning of the season. Players are still trying to figure out each other's movements, especially with that many guys that are new. I mean, we're talking about the Diches new, Barrenechea, Diaz, Ivanovic, even Dahl is not new, obviously, but yeah, it's quite a few players that that are new, and those players are instrumental. That each Barrenechea and Diaz are all guys that go forward with the ball, find players to pass to. So it hasn't always been crisp, but I think it's something to be expected in terms of where we are in the season, in the context that we are in the season, this early season. Let's not forget Benfica had 14 days of preseason, so it hasn't been a full preseason, as I mentioned. But I think that there's a lot of things that we're seeing that especially with the pressure, the high press, the timings of it. It's very important that you press really nice, and that you press as a unit, so there's no gaps in the press, and there's always somebody that's going to cover the next guy that gets the ball. Um, so encouraging signs, and as I mentioned, come out of France with a good result at the Stade de Luge, and today repeated the same 11. Again, Trubin, Dedic, Silva, Otamendi, Dal, Barrenechea, Rios, Aushna, Sheldrup, Ivanovic, Pavlidis. Artur Koglu didn't play the first game because he was hurt. He was available for this game, but coming off an injury, from what I understand, was an ankle injury. And also, there's also talks about that possibly could be going back to Turkey. But yeah, a game that Benfica felt comfortable. Nice came out firing. There was a couple flurries from them in the beginning, but I thought that Benfica then got control of the ball, started winning the duels, and were able to impose their game. Dave, I'll ask you. I mean, obviously, your thoughts on these two fixtures against a team that was that showed to be not as competitive as our team.
Not as competitive. Like you said, we handled the initial press and rush from Nice, given that they were the team that needed to come out and get some quick goals as they were coming down 2-0, 2-0 into this fixture here. So the boys handled the initial press well, and then we're able to get two quick goals right there in the middle of the first half to really seal this tie between the two legs. I like what we're seeing so far defensively, like you said, because really that was our biggest weakness last year. There was way too many opportunities given up by this defense and that back line. But as a unit, I at this stage, I want to almost say it's preseason, but we're not at preseason anymore. But at this stage of the season here, like to see some better finishing from the guys up top. Second half, there was a lot of wasted chances and opportunities, but you can't complain when you've got 3 clean sheets from three games here to start the season. So great on the defensive end of the ball, and the goals will come here as time goes on in the match. They get some more match.
I mean. Here. Yeah, Dave, I agree with you. I think defensively we've been really good. Antonio Silva has had a very good start of the season. It seems that some of the things, and knocking on wood, obviously, some of the things and some of the troubles and some of the miscues that he's had towards the end of last season, or middle to end of the season, was something that was a bit concerning. Obviously, with a young player, there's always concerns about the mentality. There could be confidence. A young player may not be developed as a mature player that's able to kind of face some adversities, go on a little bit of a slump, and be able to come out of that slump much early. But Tony Silva has been a great compliment to Otamendi, and he's been where sometimes Otamendi is not there. Antonio Silva always shows up behind him, which is really good to see, that them complementing each other. And obviously, it's been it's 1.5 seasons now that they've played together. So I think that there's a better understanding in terms of where each one is and what they need to do as a cohesive unit. I highlighted a comment by Diogo Reis. He says, "I don't mean to shit on Lage, but what's going on the right flank? I get you want to use Auschwitz, but it doesn't look conventional." And I'll look. I'm no expert, right? I'm just a guy that does a weekly podcast about Benfica, but I'll give you my theory, right? I think that the thing with Auschwitz, you got two things with Auschwitz. Number one, you got two forwards that are pressing high, and which leaves our midfield exposed as a two-man unit. If there's three-man units that we play against, Auschwitz usually balances out that midfield. So he either comes in and helps balance out that midfield. The other thing that Auschwitz does, and let's remember who Auschwitz has behind him. Auschwitz has Dedic behind him, a guy that's extremely vertical, a guy that likes to get forward. So oftentimes you're going to need that guy that's going to balance the overlaps, that's going to stay behind, that's going to be able to cover holes. And I think that's Auschwitz. It's not necessarily, what you would expect from a winger, a guy that takes players on, a difference maker, a playmaker. But in a way, Auschwitz does a lot on his own that goes unnoticed sometimes, and some of the things you saw on display today. So I think that my theory is that Auschwitz is a guy that balances the team, because now you're playing with two forwards and you're playing with an extremely vertical right back. I know we had Bob, but I think that Dedic is even more vertical than Bob. So that's my theory behind it. You could disagree or you can agree. But I think it's all about the balance, and I think that Auschwitz does a great job. Not to mention that I think the way Auschwitz understands the game and the way Auschwitz understands how Lage wants the game to be played is also something that's a huge plus. And as we know, Auschwitz could play on the right, Auschwitz could play on the left, Auschwitz could play a right back, Auschwitz could play center mid. Auschwitz could play anywhere, and a lot of that is a reflection of how Auschwitz sees games and the vision he has of games and the way he reads games. And I think that when you have a guy like that that's going to offer you a consistent play, consistent effort, doesn't turn the ball over that much, I think that it's a guy that you want to count on. And on top of it, he's a coach's player, because he knows exactly what the coach needs, and he just goes in there and interprets it to a T. As a matter of fact, Lage joked around a little bit on the press conference, one of the press conferences. I don't know if it was definitely the one before the Nice game, where he felt that Auschwitz, he called Auschwitz a scout because Auschwitz knows all the players of all the leagues of all the teams.
It seems like that the last two or three plus seasons already now with Auschwitz. He's plug and play, ready to play no matter what position you put him in, no matter what opponents. So I think right now, given we're still about 2.5 weeks away from the end of the transfer market, we'll see if Benfica is able to sign any more wingers to add some depth and competition to those positions there on the wings. But given the players that they have now, or the lack of players they have in that position right now, I think this 4-4-2 formation is how it's going to be, if just given the current roster structure. But there is still some time left here to go before the end of the transfer market.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially with the possibility that Artukoglu may end up leaving, which I do think he's leaving. The one thing that I read today was that by playing in this game, he's not eligible to play for any team that has played in these preliminary fixtures in the Champions League. So he won't be able to play for any team that has played in these, as I mentioned, in these fixtures in the group stages or the new format stage of the Champions League. So he's already
cup tied.
Well, what's he he's talked about going to Galatasaray. Is it?
No, it was Fenerbahce.
Was it
So
Fenerbahce?
the team that we bought him from Gala, but
Oh, we bought
it
it from Gala.
was
Okay.
is linked to
So
Ferner.
in essence, by playing today, you won't be able to play for Fenerbahce if Fenerbahce ends up beating us and going into the competition stage of the Champions League.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, midlife crisis. Auschwitz is MVP in my opinion. Yeah, look, I think that Auschwitz does a lot of things that people don't see, and that is really balancing out the team. And it's important to have that balance because you want a team that's going to pressure high. You want to have a guy that's going to balance. You want to have a guy that's going to be able to fill in the gaps and is able to close things off and keep the team in balance and team in good possessive in good position in order to defend. Yeah, Diogo Reis also says that Dedic looks super fast. Hopefully, he can gather with himself as he approaches the final third. Yeah, I mean, he's had a couple attempts on goal. They were blocked. A couple overlaps on both games. Both times, he found Auschwitz, which then found Dedic for the first goal in the first leg. Then today with the heel pass to Auschwitz with the pass back and Skeldrup putting the ball in the back of the net. So look, I think that each for me, I mean, he's impressed me from the first time I saw him, and I think that he can only get better as he gets to know his teammates and as he gets used to the team and he gets used to the speed of the game. So I think it's good. Nelson Lucinda, what's up, Nelson? Says Otamendi to me has lost a step this offseason. I really love the guy and his passion. Probably the best captain since Luizão. Yeah, I agree. And it look, it's obviously normal, right? A guy in his late 30s that he's going to lose a step. And Otamendi was never really a super fast guy, but I think that guys at this stage of their career, what they do is their positioning is almost impeccable. The problem with Otamendi that I see that could affect the team is that when the team wants to press high and wants to compress and play in a very limited space and leaving a lot of room behind their back, that's when Otamendi could get in trouble because he obviously doesn't have the legs to recover and to come back. And when you have two fullbacks that are projected, it leaves the back line in a very tough spot. But yeah, look, it's just it's like I said, it's encouraging signs that we're seeing from the team this early, Dave. And I think Benfica need to be happy. Do we need another player that could create, another player that can take guys on? I think we definitely do. Even with Artur Koglu on the team, I think we need another guy because Artur Koglu is very last season. He started off well, but he was hit and miss for most of the season. There was times he couldn't take people on. He just didn't have the confidence to take people on. And I for as much as I like Prestiani and for as much as I like Skeldrup, I don't think that they're guys that we could trust on and really hand the keys to the car. I mean, they're guys that could come in, but they're not. Who was that guy that played for us that went to Napoli, Dave?
Oh, Nedish.
Neres, yeah. They're no Neres or even Di Maria on his
Di
decline.
Maria, Rafa, those
No.
guys that
Yeah, you got guys that take people on, and sometimes we need a playmaker. I don't know if that playmaker is going to come in a shape of a winger or if it's going to come in a shape of a 10. I think that we all hope that that both of those positions get filled up. There's conversations about a player, Amare, I think. So, but and Nelson Lucindo also says here, Mourinho with 11 Auschwitz, I can win the Champions League. Yeah, I think that every coach wants to have those types of players. Chico Marcelino says Feyenoord just missed Champions League football today, so chances of Musa joining Benfica just increased. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, there's that. I mean, there's still some time. Today is the 12th. We still got the end of the month until the market closes. Obviously, I would love to already have of the roster closed and the team working with Lage, but sometimes you got that that last week of the market, that last push of guys that want to move or excess or whatever or surplus. So it's going to be tricky, but we'll just have to see how that develops. Chico Marcelino also says that each willingness to go forward and beat defenders one-on-one is a big contrast with Ba. Yeah, I think that Ba wanted to go forward, but I just didn't think that he has the skill set that that each offers. And I think that each is much faster than Ba, at least with the ball at his feet, from what I've been able to see. Yeah, Diogo Reis also says, I know he's not quick, but Otamendi's still the best timing tackles of our best aerial threats and corners. Yeah, agreed. But sometimes when he misses those timed tackles, man, that usually leads to a bad situation because he's usually one of the last guys out there. Nelson says positioning, reading the game, drive, motivation are superb. But if we're planning 4-4-2, we no longer have that defensive mid that drops to make a center back. I think, Rios can build out of the back, Baranechea can build out of the back. Can they defend as a third center back? Probably not. But I think that we're not in a bad position. And thank you guys for being in a chat and for being active in a chat. Certainly, with not a lot to talk about, and Cristiano not being here, we're being a lot more active on a chat and going to you guys. Obviously, Dave is a man of very little words. But Dave, you got any stats on these Nice fixtures?
Yeah, just loading them up here. We'll cover them both off. Ivanovic was his debut, and he scored on his debut. I know last podcast we discussed potential lineups and formations, and was it going to be Barreiro or Ivanovic? And he came in on short notice and scored on his Benfica debut on that first leg in Nice there. Florentino with his fourth career goal for Benfica, like you said, doesn't score too often, and that was the first from outside of the box. And then flipping over to today's game, Arsenis has been directly involved with 3 out of Benfica's 5 goals so far this season. 1 goal and 2 assists for Freddie, the early leader. Clubhouse leader for MVP of this squad so far, 3 matches in.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, so some encouraging signs. Then we have next fixtures, as we mentioned, we have Mourinho and Fenerbahce. Fenerbahce has played the Eusebio Cup, so they already got a little bit of a taste of what this Benfica team looks like. Mourinho obviously very familiar with Portuguese football and especially Benfica. He was able to kind of turn things around against Feyenoord and get past these prelims, but it's going to be difficult. The next game against Fenerbahce will be on Wednesday, so a week from tomorrow as we record this. So it should be interesting. But I think that I think we do have the team to beat Fenerbahce, but I think the fact that Mourinho's knowledge of our team and also some of his pragmatic posture or attitude or approach to games, and he's not the guy who's shy to park the bus in front of the goal, as we all know. But it's going to be an interesting fixture. Benfica needs to get into the Champions League. Mourinho obviously has a reputation and obviously wants to be in the Champions League as well. Gets paid a lot of money. He's been having a couple good signings there. So it should be an interesting fixture. We will have a little bit more of that on Tuesday. We'll preview the Fenerbahce game next week, but just wanted to tell you guys when the next fixture is, just in case you didn't know. So it should be interesting. Next up for Benfica, Estrela da Amadora. As I mentioned, second jornada, but first game of the season of the domestic competition for Benfica. Benfica will travel to Amadora to play Estrela. Game, it takes place on Saturday, 8:30 local. Dave, what's Estrela doing after the first jornada?
Yeah, they drew 1-1 yesterday against Estoril. So they've got 1 point coming out of the first match. Historically, we got 34 wins, 6 draws, and 2 defeats in the previous 42 meetings. And coming in winners of 9 straight against Estrela.
Yeah, absolutely. So Estrela, a team that has been back to the Primeira Liga now for a couple of years now, an historic club from the Lisbon area. They don't seem that they're going to cause us too much trouble, but I'm always a little bit leery in terms of games in between European fixtures or after European fixtures. There's always something that the team needs to be weary of, and obviously with qualifying for the Champions League being so important because of money, because of the elections, all of that, I think that I hope that the team is not looking past the Estrela game for the Fenerbahce match. And Dave, we go to Turkey first?
We go to Turkey first next week.
Yeah, we go to Turkey first, and then we finish up in Lisbon. But I just hope that the team is not looking past Estrela da Amadora, to be honest with you, considering how important it is to get into the Champions League, and also understanding that election year from here until the elections is going to be very high pressure for the club in Rui Costa. Obviously, I don't know how much of that is going to translate into the locker room, but certainly there's a message from the top. Lage knows the importance of the team doing well. Lage is also last year he took over a team that wasn't built by him. This year he has a team that has guys that were of his choosing. So certainly the pressure is going to be there. I'm sure that from the top he's hearing things like, we're giving you your guys, just make it happen, because I think that the team, if the team is doing well until October, until election time, I think that the probabilities of Rui Costa gathering a lot of votes is very good. If the team is not doing well, obviously, I think the fans will see through that, and I think they're going to be looking for alternatives and looking for change. But if the team is doing well, I think that's going to quiet a lot of the noise around the team and the asking for a change. So not a very difficult game for Benfica, I would say.
On paper isn't difficult. Yeah, but like
paper,
you said,
on paper.
I think they're going to come out ready to play because they already were afforded the luxury and the benefit of not having to play the first league fixture that it's been pushed back. If you already want to say they're a little bit behind the 8 ball with Sporting and Porto and Braga all picking up points, I think Lage is going to have these guys, at least he should have these guys ready, because they can't afford to be slipping up early in the season, especially with the other our rivals accumulating points on the first weekend of the season here. So I think they're gonna come out ready, business ready, put on a solid performance, and then focus on Fenerbahce and heading over to Turkey when they cross that bridge into to next week. But first things first, this weekend got to take care of business at home in the Portuguese league.
Yeah, not to mention that once you start playing European competitions, whether it's Champions League or whether it's Europa League, you got midweek games. You got not a lot of time to train and prepare. There's a lot of recovery sessions and play and watching film and whatnot. So um, I don't think that Benfica can afford to slip up this early in a season because it's just things are just going to become a lot more difficult. I don't know. I think that's all we really got. But I don't know. We'll talk. I give you my opinion of what I think about both. Well, Porto, Braga, and Sporting, right? So we'll start with Braga. I think that Braga is gonna remain consistent throughout the season, like they usually do. I think the biggest difference for Braga is going to be when they meet the other big three. If they can make a difference there, I think they could be a bit of a threat to the top three. But I think that Braga as an interesting team. They got a player on loan from PSG, which obviously Braga is part owned by the Qatar Sports Group, which also owns PSG. They also bought the most expensive player um, in their history, and I forget his name is first name is Pau, but I don't know what is
Victor.
what is Pau Victor. Yeah, so Braga is going to be consistent. The biggest difference between Braga and the big three is going to be whether or not Braga is going to be able to play and compete against three. In terms of Porto, interesting. Coach comes in, changes things. They're pressing high from the game that I watched. It seems that the attitude instilled in these players and obviously this game against Vitoria, which they ran away with, was obviously fueled by the whole with the passing of George Costa and the players wanting to honor George Costa as a member of the team. But it's an attitude and an approach that fits a lot more with the DNA from Porto. So it's going to be interesting. New coach, uh, quite a few new players as well. Um, but I mean, they can't be discounted. They got more options than they had last year. So Porto's going to compete in terms of Sporting. I think that Sporting will the biggest story this early on in the season. I think that can Sporting escape the Jokeres ghost? Can they move on? Is there life for Sporting after Jokeres? And look, regardless of Luis Suarez and being whether he's the second coming or whatever it is, at the end of the day, when you miss a player like Jokeres, a player that did so much goal output in the past couple seasons, tremendous past few seasons, right? Tremendous. Um, that was basically their driving force, the guy that solved games for them. And I think the biggest thing is going to be does Sporting have life after Vitor Jokeres? Where are they going to find the goals? I know that Trincão and Pot can score those goals, but certainly, I mean, from what we've seen from Vitor Jokeres and as a Benfiquista and as Portistas and the rest of the league, I think we're all happy that Jokeres has left, right? But I think the biggest thing for Sporting is going to be to get out of that shadow of Vitor Jokeres, and I think the fan base as well is a little suspicious in terms of where they're confident that they're bicampeões, but where are they going to get that goal output that they got from Vitor Jokeres? So, and they're a fickle bunch, and there's a good opportunity that if Sporting starts playing and they can't find ways to score goals or they can't find ways to really inch out those last minute tight matches, especially against little teams. I think that there'll be a little bit of a suspicion from fans and maybe doubt on whether this team uh, can get the three. I also think that their coach I don't rate him. I don't think he's a great coach. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, that's my opinion on the other three teams. I think that it's going to be a good season for Portuguese football. I think again there'll be a disparity between the 3, 4 place teams and the rest of the group, but there's some interesting teams out there. Moreirense being one of them, Tondela being another, and then you also have the quality of coaches in those middle teams that could really present a lot of problems to the big three, or big four, I should say. Big three plus 1.5, I guess, or a half of another one. But it should be an interesting league, man. I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, elections looming for Benfica. That's always going to be a topic for discussion. That's always going to bring a different level and a different context to this league, especially Benfica, Champions League, the short preseason. These are all things that we're going to be looking for or looking after. See with some comments here. Diogo Reis says, I will be watching to see what happens when we hit a rough patch. What does Rui do with Lage?
It might be too late for that. They both go together at this point.
Yeah. And Diogo, I don't know if you heard me earlier. My biggest concern with this team is Lage's ceiling, because I think Lage definitely has a ceiling. I think the team is, if we could grab that 101 winger and a guy that's a number 10 that's going to make those last the final third balls, those key passes, I think we're going to be in a really good shape. But let's not forget, this is a team that had 14 days of preseason, a team that had quite a few new players, and a team that will have a little bit of pressure from the outside because of all the elections. And once we enter September, the election noise is just going to get louder and louder around this team. And I don't think there's a team that could stay away from it or not be affected by it because just of Benfica's magnitude. So it'll be interesting. Midlife Crisis says, I have no doubt in my mind that Benfica has everything to do a great season, but it will be conditioned by referees and press. It's always conditioned by referees and press. We just have to be smarter. We have to do what the other teams do. Control the narrative. Don't stay quiet. If there's something that happens in the first game, you should come out and talk. Don't come and talk in the 10th round and show video for the first 10 rounds of how Benfica was done wrong by referees. Just be a little bit more active in terms of defending the team. Chico Marcelino says, looking a bit to our rivals, I feel that Porto will improve a lot, probably finishing above Sporting. I'm of that opinion as well, Chico. Also, on big factor is that Porto has the best coach of the three grands, in my opinion. Yeah, that's a bold statement, but I don't think you're too far from the truth, Chico. Also, Midlife says the Portuguese press is already portraying Porto and Sporting as amazing. Look, I think at the end of the day, I mean, the press has to do their job, to create narratives, create excitement in the league, create problems when problems don't exist. They got to sell a paper, man. And printed media is a dying industry. So there's a lot of things that these guys need to do in order to fish out those that information. And I mean, it's amazing. I mean, if you guys listen to the press conferences before and after the games, some of the questions that are asked, especially after a game, right? And before the game, there's always some questions that are a little bit off topic, but after the game, journalists should be asking questions about the game. Why didn't you put this guy in? Why did you make the sub so late? What was your read of the game? What made you change this? No, there's a lot more other questions that incite or that they hope incite answers that are going to be controversial, answers that are going to make the first page of their respective papers. So it's just media and referees is always something that we're going to have to contend with, because that's the Portuguese league, man. Referee quality is not all that great, despite João Pinheiro is going to referee the European Super Cup. I think next weekend, I want to say, or in a couple weeks. So, but really, Portuguese officiating is not very well known for being good. There's a shortage of referees in Portugal, and obviously, if you're somebody that has ambitions to becoming a referee, you see what referees go to in terms of pressure, in terms of the scrutinizing that they go through in the media and the papers, on TV, the commentary shows. It's discouraging for any new kid that wants to become a referee, that loves the game and wants to give back to the game. So it's difficult. But anyway, Dave, I'm just rambling and rambling and rambling. I don't know if you got anything else to say. I don't have anything else to say. We got 15 minutes
No,
in, more or less.
I think you hit the nail. I'm not buying as much stock in Sporting as I am in Porto. I think Porto has a good bounce back season.
I think so.
They've got the emotional aspect to play for. Plus, if this coach is as good as everybody is making him out to be, if he's able to catch some lightning in the bottle, they still got some average players there on that squad. But if he's able to make some lemonade out of a couple of those lemons there, they might pose as some serious threats here. And don't forget about Braga either. They've got Pep Guardiola's former assistant coach there leading the squad.
Yeah, Vicens.
A little bit unproven on his own, but if he comes from the Pep Guardiola's coaching tree, might have something there as well. But lots to look forward here. I know it still feels like preseason to me, but we've already got 3 official games in the book here. But it's season. We're already in the season, so no preseason here. Once we get the game kicked off against Estrela in the Portuguese league here.
Yeah, Diogo Reis says basically, who on this roster could save Lage from his shortcomings, or who can we get in the market? But as is, I believe we have the best roster. Yeah, I think on paper we have a really good roster. Obviously, there's some key players in the other 2 teams, but I think that Benfica has a more complete roster, especially if we're able to add that number 10 and that difference maker of a winger. I think Ivanovic could save Lage. I think that Ivanovic can score a lot of goals. I'm a little bit concerned about Pavlidis, because he hasn't gotten on a score sheet in these past couple fixtures. He scored the goal against Sporting, obviously, but you could see that he's getting a little bit desperate in terms of snatching that goal. But I mean, so far I like what I see from Ivanovic. But those guys, hopefully we get a good goal production from both of those guys. Anyway, that is all that we got. Dave, you don't have any more?
I don't have any more. We'll wait for next week. See, Cristiano's back. Hopefully, we got some more. We got a win over the weekend here. You want to set a prediction for the score line on Saturday here?
Yeah, I think we go 3-0. What about you, Dave?
I was thinking 3-1. So I know streaks are meant to be broken. I think we concede 1, but I'm feeling the 3 as well. So I'll go 3-1 here.
Yeah. All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks for joining us. Thank you guys that are gonna watch this later and they're gonna listen to this later. We appreciate it very much. We're here for next season. Hopefully, this season will be a lot better, less painless, less therapy sessions than last season. Take care.